Mac Begeiski's here with a video about scrapping a magnetron, which is a piece of electrical equipment inside of a microwave. So I've seen different videos where people have cut into these and just bashed them to heck with a hammer or something, and I was trying to give a few pointers or tips because I've done this a couple times, and usually it's a matter of finesse. You see these broken off bits of tin right here. If you just tap the edge of that block with your favorite blunt object, gently, you don't have to whack at it. If you tap those, usually that seam will break. If it doesn't break, you can try to wiggle the pieces if it doesn't break all the way off, but sometimes they'll just all come off. Like for this one, I think 4 of them came off, and then there was one that was stuck, so I just wiggled it back and forth like that, and it came right off. So that was pretty easy. Now, if it doesn't come off, or if the seam doesn't break, you can use a screwdriver and just kind of tap through it like you would a chisel or something, as you'll see right here, just like that. Then you want to get rid of any debris that's on the wires that you might cut your fingers on or might get in your way or annoy you, and use your tool to pry out that first bit of wire. You can see that the interior of this wire is it's a steel colors, which means that's aluminum wire. It's not copper. Sadly, I'd like it to be copper, but it's not. So the next thing is you can go and start trying to bash out the other wire, but inside right there are 2 more pieces of that steel. So pry those out. And what I did is I pried behind that red wire, and that let me get the screwdriver down so I could pry those little bits of metal out, because at first they didn't want to come out. A good rule of thumb is if you can't get the stiff metal to work with you, work with the wire, work with whatever is malleable. So we got a little bit more wire here. I think that was also aluminum. And then you're left with the rest of the wire in there. So first I tried hammering. And don't get frustrated if hammering doesn't work. Don't throw the piece across the wall. Don't get out the sledgehammer. Move on to something else. I tried prying next. So I pried and pried on either side, back and forth, and the prying wasn't really working for me either. So again, I didn't get frustrated, didn't injure myself. I just tried it, didn't work, moved on. So the last step is to twist and cut, break apart the copper, or the wire. So you stick your screwdriver in there and twist the wire up, because the wire is softer than the metal, so why not work with that? And once you do this, you can kind of spread the wire out and pry it up and loosen it up, and then get your pliers or your I'm using tin snips here, and just go through and cut through it. Pretty simple. And then I kind of jump ahead, and I think I spend about 3 or 4 minutes, maybe 5 minutes cutting through all this. I don't have it all in the video, but that's the end product right there. And I'll bring it up to the screen. There you go. And you can see this is also aluminum wire, it's not copper. So now we're back to kind of putting everything together. We're going to pry, we're going to hammer, we're going to wiggle. You notice I kind of wiggle one end real lightly, then I wiggle the other side. Then I wiggle this side, then I wiggle the other side. So it's not a lot of work, it just requires a little bit of patience. So I do that back and forth, and this only really took a few minutes. I use the screwdriver underneath to kind of pry up at times, and then once it's loose, I hammer out the one side. And once that one side is free, see wiggling right here? Once that's free, the other side comes right out. And there you go. Together with the other pile, victory! With the 2 piles of wire there, I think it was about 1 3/4 pound of aluminum wire. That goes for about 50 cents right now for me. And the metal that was left over from the magnetron alone, that was 8 pounds. So 8 pounds, that's about $6.50. So really not too bad for a small piece of the microwave. And this dust, make sure you guys are wearing some sort of mask or something when you're working out in your garages. It might not seem like it, but there's dust and nasty stuff and old dirt particles floating through the air, and you don't want to be wheezing for the next 3 days. So make sure you wear a mask or a handkerchief or something like that, and always clean up. And those are my tips on taking apart a magnetron. Comment if you like if you do. Thanks for watching.